Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial Last Post Ceremony. My name is Lexa Peterson, and joining us today from the Australian Army is Lieutenant Colonel David Mason. We welcome Alex McGowan, Vice President of the ACT Section Naval Association of Australia. And as always, we welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the pool of reflection by visitors to the memorial. Now, if you're able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice in soil and wealth for toil. Our home is got by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Visitors who are able to do so, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops at Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him in Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed at the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first we present a lament. Flowers of the forest, wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to able Seaman Stafford Thomas Wedding Dowsett. Dowsett's parents, Stafford and Jessie, met and married in Edinburgh, Scotland. They married in 1919 after Stafford's service in France with the Australian Imperial Force in the First World War. Upon returning to Sydney, their first child, Maisie, was born in 1920, followed by Stafford Thomas on the 22nd of June 1922 in Sydney. Two more children soon followed, Jean and Jack. Little is known about the early life of the second son, Thomas, who grew up around the family home in Campsie and eventually found employment as a moulder in a local foundry. With the outbreak of war in September 1939, Thomas may have felt the call of adventure or of duty. And on the 9th of January 1940, he joined the Royal Australian Navy, aged 17. After completing nearly 6 months of training at HMAS Cerberus, on the 17th of June, Ordinary Seaman Dowsett was posted to HMAS Parramatta. HMS Parramatta 2 was a new 1,060-tonne Grimsby-class sloop, launched on the 10th of June 1939 and commissioned at Sydney on the 8th of April 1940. It was armed with 3 4-inch guns, 4 3-pounder guns, torpedoes and depth charges. Parramatta's complement of 135 officers and men was under the command of Lieutenant Commander Jefferson Walker. Following initial workup exercises, Parramatta sailed from Fremantle on the 29th of June 1940 and shaped course for the Middle East. Over the next 9 months, as part of the Red Sea Force, the ship conducted numerous operations, escorting, patrolling and minesweeping this critical waterway. Apart from occasional attacks from Italian aircraft, Parramatta's main action was participating in the operations against the Italians in Eritrea in April 1941. The following month, Parramatta transferred to the Mediterranean station and Thomas Dowsett was promoted to able seaman. In late June, Parramatta made its first run from Alexandria, escorting supplies being shipped to the besieged port of Tobruk, Libya, where Australian troops were holding out. Although subject to heavy air and submarine attack, the Parramatta survived unscathed. The next few months saw Parramatta undertaking less hazardous duty, making escort runs to Cyprus, followed by duty in the Suez Canal zone. On the 18th of November 1941, the Allies launched Operation Crusader, a land offensive aimed at relieving Tobruk. Parramatta again conducted escort duties in support. Despite being subject to enemy air and submarine attack, once more the ship returned safely to Alexandria on the 23rd of November. But the pace was relentless and supplies desperately needed, so 2 days later, Parramatta cast off for a return to Tobruk. Around midnight, on the 26th of November, Parramatta, HMS Avon Vale and the ammunition supply ship Han was sighted off the coast of Bardia by German submarine U-559. After missing the Han, U-559 fired a single torpedo at HMAS Parramatta. It hit. There were almost simultaneous explosions. The second, probably in the magazine, as the ship was torn apart. All lighting failed, and Walker, on the bridge, only had time to issue the order to abandon ship before it rolled to starboard and sank. Only 24 survived, mostly those who were on the upper decks. 138 officers and sailors were lost. Among them was able seaman Thomas Dowsett. He was 19 years old. The remains of those lost in HMAS Parramatta that day still lay with the wreck. Their names are commemorated on the Plymouth Naval Memorial in Devon, England, and are also listed on the Roll of Honour to my left. Among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today by the Pool of Reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember able seaman Thomas Wedding Dowsett, who gave his life for us, for freedom and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and sounding of the last post.
Shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them. lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles B. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over, but in Australia they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of the Director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.